Welcome everyone to another Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Wherever you are, whatever you may be doing, thank you so much for making Ref Brandon and the Todd Family part of your day. We always greatly appreciate it. It is late on a Tuesday night on the East Coast. It's only shortly after 5 o'clock in the afternoon in Hawaii, so depending on where you are right now will determine what day it is and what time it is. But on the East Coast, it's almost Wednesday, so of course that means it's time for another weekly top 10 countdown. And I was talking some NFL in my video yesterday, and I made a reference in the video saying that I don't do NFL top 10s, NFL power polls, which I don't do them on a weekly basis. And a lot of magazines and TV stations and radio stations, things like that, especially the ones at NFL markets, they do power polls every single week. I don't do that, but I thought, you know what? It is December now. We're through 13 games for some teams, 12 games for some teams, but 13 weeks. So only 5 weeks left in the regular season. So I thought, you know what? I should do an NFL top 10. Hey there, Austin. Good evening. So this week's top 10 countdown is going to be Brandon Todd's opinion of the current best 10 teams in the National Football League. Any thoughts on this? As always, please feel free to let me know. Number 10 is a team that a month ago there was no way they would even be inside the top 15, probably borderline the top 20. But a month later, this team is playing some really good football. And if they keep playing like this, they're going to be a force come playoff time. And that is the Denver Broncos. At one time this year, they looked awful on offense. They were staying in games and winning some games because of their defense, but they were bottom 5 in the NFL in offense. But we know that Sean Payton is an offensive genius, and eventually he's going to get things going. But I think Bo Nix is coming along faster than they expected. They just made him their starting quarterback when the season started because even though he's a rookie, he's still their best option. But the first few games, you had to scratch your head and say, I don't think this team is ready. But now I think the team is ready, and I think Bo Nix is ready. And the Denver Broncos are the number 10 team right now in the NFL. I am fantastic, Austin. Thank you for asking. Hey there, Warrior. Glad to have you here. Number 9, we have the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, I've been on here for a few weeks now saying that the Chargers are going to be a force to be reckoned with come playoff time because Jim Harbaugh is a winner everywhere he goes. And everybody's already big on Justin Herbert, so they already had the quarterback that most folks thought was going to be really helpful come playoff time if you get there. And their defense has got to be top 10. If they can ever get a consistent running game going, they're going to be really good because they're running the ball right now so much that they've taken all the pressure off of Herbert. At one time last year, Herbert's throwing the ball 45, 50 times a game. This year he's throwing it like 25, but J.K. Dobbins is hurt. So can Gus Edwards carry the ball 25 times a game? I don't know. But they need him because the Chargers basically let all their good receivers go. Now they've got, some okay guys, but no game-changing guys, no Hall of Fame guys. Guys that would really be a number 3 receiver on most teams, but they let all their great receivers and their great tight end go. So they're stuck with number 3 receivers. Austin, I had high school basketball tonight, so I didn't get home until 10 o'clock Eastern time, so it was already off before I got home. I thought I mentioned the other day that I had high school basketball, but maybe I didn't. I'm not sure. Number 8 is the Minnesota Vikings, and the Vikings, they need to figure out how to carry this over into the playoffs. It's hard not to put them in the top 10 because of what their record is. But you really can't put them higher than that because, for one, they're winning ugly. But for two, this is probably the third or fourth straight year that they've, won 12, 13, 14 games in the regular season, and then come playoff time, their first playoff game, they're out. So until they start winning in the playoffs, at least to an NFC championship game, what they do in the regular season, people are going to quit caring because they can't win in the playoffs. And Mac, glad to have you here. And you say y'all are going out in the first round, and you might be right. I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I'm just saying that until they start winning in the playoffs, at least a game or two, after a while, people don't care what you do in the regular season. And the Vikings have figured out how to win in the regular season, but they just have not figured out how to carry it over to the playoffs. And JH, no, I do not have pets, but thank you for asking. Number 7, the Green Bay Packers. The Packers have a really good team, and they've had preseason, but it's been a kind of a topsy-turvy, unpredictable season. They have had a few games where they've looked really good, but then in the games where they've looked bad, they looked really bad. So, are they the team that's good when they're really good? Or are they the team that's bad when they're really bad? Or are they somewhere in between? Hey there, Go Bills. Glad to have you here. You say Go Bills. And Max says people were predicting us to go 5-12. Anything is really better than that. I think most people thought that because you lost your starting quarterback before the season started. And Sam Darnold has played before with different teams, and he's never played good. So when you lose your starting quarterback before the season starts, and you have to turn to a guy that's pretty much been a failure in NFL career, people are going to say that. But, I would have been interested to see how many games the Vikings were picked to win before their quarterback got hurt because they've been so good the last few years in the regular season. Hey there, Jalen. Glad to have you here, and everything is good. Thank you for asking. Kevin O'Connell is a magic man, says Mac, the hurler. Mac, whichever one it is, I think it's Mac. Glad to have you here. Hopefully you give the video a like and a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, please do so. And share the video on all social media platforms. Number 6 for me is the Baltimore Ravens. And the Ravens, to me, are kind of like the Vikings. Now, they do win in the playoffs more than the Vikings do. Hey there, Welch's Grape Jelly. My night is going fantastic. But the Baltimore Ravens are kind of like the Vikings. They pretty much win double-digit games now in the regular season every year. But then come playoff time, the first time they play a decent team in the playoffs, they get beat. Because nobody cares what Lamar Jackson does passing the ball in the regular season. They want to know what Lamar Jackson can do passing the ball in the playoffs. And every year in the playoffs, they play somebody that goes into the game, and their game plan is, we're going to stop the run, we're going to stuff the run, and we're going to make Lamar Jackson beat us with his arm. And he can't do it. And until he does it, the Ravens will never win a Super Bowl, because when the Ravens can run the ball and Lamar Jackson can throw the ball whenever he wants to, he's fine. But when the defense puts 8, 9 guys in the box and stops the run and they make Lamar Jackson throw, he just can't do it. 10 through 6, again, is the Broncos, the Chargers, the Vikings, the Packers, and the Ravens. And Austin, I guess if it's freezing up on you, all I can tell you is get back off and jump back on. I might be done when you come back, but if so, you can go back and watch it later. Happens to me sometimes too here in the house. If our Wi-Fi starts getting bad, whatever, I'm watching will buff and freeze up and all that kind of good stuff. Sometimes it gets very, very aggravating. Number 5 is the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the top 4 shouldn't surprise anybody. This is probably any and everybody's top 4 NFL teams, just maybe a different order. Number 4 is the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 3, the Detroit Lions. Number 2, the Buffalo Bills. And number 1, the Philadelphia Eagles. I even said about 3 weeks ago that right now, if I had to make a prediction, I would say NFC Championship, Eagles, Lions, AFC Championship, Bills, Chiefs, and I have not seen anything since that week to change my mind and make me think anything differently. I think those are the 4 best teams right now, 2 in the AFC, 2 in the NFC. In essence, thank you for asking me to do that, but if I was to sing Blondie or anybody else, I would probably lose every view, not only in this video, but every subscriber I've ever had. Y'all don't want to hear me sing Blondie or anybody else. However, that is a very good song. Any thoughts on this top 10 countdown, please feel free to let me know. Let's go ahead and get our dad joke of the day in here. The Lego store reopens after lockdown. Folks lined up for blocks. And that does it for today's Ref Brandon and the Todd Family YouTube video. Until next time, it's Ref Brandon saying, just like in pro wrestling, life can be over by the count of 3. Tell your friends and family how much you love them. Bye.